Fall is all about cozy comforts, and with Hero Bread, you can enjoy all your favorites and still hit your health goals. From breakfast bagels and meal prepped enchiladas to mouth-watering burgers and cheesy noodles. You won't believe Hero Bread's options have 0 to 5 grams net carbs and are high fiber from the taste and texture. And right now, Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code FALL25 at checkout. That's FALL25 at hero.co. All figures are per serving of Hero Bread. Contains 2 to 18 grams of fat per serving. See the product nutrition panels on hero.co for more information.
Hey everybody, I'm Michael Andersen, and this is Fantasy Avenue, where each week we talk about everything you need to know in the world of fantasy football. Hello and welcome back to Fantasy Avenue, your road to fantasy football victory. Today's episode, we'll be talking about the running back. So we've already talked about my top 10 and quarterbacks. We're on to the RBs. This is the top fantasy position. These are the guys that will make or break your fantasy team, and especially this year. It's very not a deep field of running backs versus the wide receivers. One of these guys you are going to need to get to be a contender in your league, flat out. So let's just hop right into it. Starting with our number one running back and number one overall player this year, Jonathan Taylor. I already talked about him a little bit during the top 10, but he will be the entire Indianapolis Colts offense. They should run behind him, lean on him, do everything through that guy in the pass and run game. He is the safest pick in the whole league, and even with regression, last year he had 600 yards more than anybody else. So even with some regression there, he'll still be a man that you can name your fantasy team after. You know, I don't know any tricky names. There are some funny fantasy names out there, but you could find one if you get Jonathan Taylor, because he will be your fantasy player, just like he's the Colts player. Number 2, Christian McCaffrey. This goes kind of the same as our top 10, if you've seen that episode, at least the start of it. So we'll go through kind of quickly to the start. But Christian McCaffrey, if he stays healthy, I believe he's going to be the best running back in football, but that's such a big risk that in any of my leagues I haven't picked him, even though one time he was available and Austin Eckler was available, and I went to pick Austin Eckler just because I'm scared of Christian McCaffrey. I'm scared of putting my chips into him for a third year in a row. With a new quarterback in the offense, there is some worry there, but the main worry is just injury. If he stays healthy, whoop-de-doo. But if he doesn't, I don't know. You're basically throwing away your first-round pick. Number 3 on my running back list is Austin Eckler. Chargers running back, continuing to get more share of the carries, more share of the yards in that booming offense with Justin Herbert. He should have another big year. They're going to need to throw the ball. And he's probably on this list, at least in the top 10, the most pass-catching back here last year. And going up against those AFC West offenses, it's going to be high-scoring games with a lot of throwing. So I think he should thrive once again. 4th, we have Joe Mixon. I picked Joe Mixon in 2, or maybe 3. I'm in 4 leagues this year with various, different people, different skill sets in fantasy football. But I believe I picked Joe Mixon in 2 or 3 of my leagues because he's super underrated during draft day, and he's a guy that you could lean on as a steady, safe guy that should produce week after week. His catching will be the most important, whether he cracks into the top 5 running backs as I have him, or whether he just fades into the 10 range, like a solid pick. It'll all depend on if he can catch the ball consistently with Joe Burrow. Number 5, this is Derrick Henry. He just like Jonathan Taylor, he will be the Titans' offense. They will run through him. He'll probably catch a few passes out of the backfield. But anytime a defense is going into the week, they'll say, we have Derrick Henry. Let's game plan for him. And he'll still do well. So volume, you'll never have a week where you're just like, why are the Titans not using Derrick Henry? They'll use Derrick Henry. Just trust. They will use Derrick Henry. Okay, number 6. This is the last of the running backs on the top 10 list. So from here on out, it'll be new information. But number 6 is Dalvin Cook. I've already talked to him a bit, but after these final guys, there's a bit of a dip in consistency and kind of the unknowns in the running back area. So Dalvin Cook is your last sure thing, in my opinion, I think. There is some injuries, but running backs get injured. You can't, unless it's the Christian McCaffrey thing where it's every single year, I don't think you can really be scared to pick a running back due to his injury history. So even though there are risks, Dalvin Cook is the number 6 plateau of good running backs. And then we'll see a bit of a drop-off, a bit of a uncertainty drop-off. With our number 7, Najee Harris. His volume is almost guaranteed to decrease. He'll still look to carry the bulk of the loads with a new quarterback in the system at Pittsburgh. And he should repeat good production, at least, just due to his extreme volume. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure he had the second most carries in the whole league behind Jonathan Taylor last year. And he still didn't have that great of that insane of a season. I'm pretty sure he had 3.9 yards per carry, which is, you want a good running back to be in the top running backs like Javonte Williams, who didn't get a lot of carries, are in the 5 point something yards per carry range. So he wasn't very efficient, but with all those carries, he'll still ball out. He'll still have 20, 25 carries a game, which is 20 or 25 carries to get a lot of yards. Number 8, we have Alvin Kamara. So he's coming off a season with an offense that was just decimated last year with injuries and with the loss of their Hall of Fame quarterback. I believe he's going to find his form again. I remember my first year of fantasy football was, I believe, his rookie season, and he's just got that thing about him when he has the ball. I've always remembered it, that it just flows when he carries the ball. So I think he'll be back to that. The only thing is that possible suspension due to the thing that happened in Las Vegas during the Pro Bowl. So there's going to be a trial, probably not like Deshaun Watson's, probably take a little bit, might be suspended for a couple games, but he is a guy that would be in my top 6, as a sure thing if it wasn't for that. So having a guy like that on your roster might miss a couple games, but will still be a top running back, and that you can get him late in the draft, good value. That's always good to have. So he's our number 8 on the list. Number 9, we have Aaron Jones. He played well in his 12 uninjured games last season. Granted, that was only 12. There was 5 games where he was either on a reduced carry, or just didn't play at all. And so I think coming off that season, he's pretty durable. He should thrive in that offense due to just the uncertainty at the weapons in the wide receiver range for Aaron Rodgers. There's obviously tons of targets opening up for him with Adams gone. And while he does have risks, he could be seen above Kamara just due to the fact that, and honestly above Najee, due to the fact that you don't know how much volume he's going to get with the wide receivers they have in Green Bay. He will be Aaron Rodgers' only familiar weapon coming out of the backfield, with wide receivers all around that during training camp have been kind of rumored to not even be able to catch the ball, and Rodgers is frustrated with that. So getting Aaron Jones, he'll probably lean on Aaron Jones as just a familiar face. I think he's going to have a good year. Number 10 is Leonard Fournette. So this is a guy during Jacksonville who was doing great his first couple of years, then kind of started to peter off, got traded, and now last year boomed back on the scene, splitting carries with Ronald Jones. And now Fournette is signed back with the Bucs. Ronald Jones is gone. So I think he's back to a number 1 running back role in a good offense with carries and a lot of catches out of the backfield from Brady, because that's just how Tom Brady rolls. He throws a lot to the running backs because he's old. He doesn't like to get hit. Being a frail 82 behind their offensive line, you don't want to take a hit. So Leonard Fournette, good catching back, hard runner. I think we're going to see similar numbers to his crazy rookie years in Jacksonville, where they were going to the AFC Championship and stuff. Moving on, number 11, we have James Conner. Last year was such a surprise. I don't even think, I know for sure, in one of my leagues, I don't even believe he was drafted until the 12th round. There was just no one wanted him. He had problems with injuries. He left the Steelers in kind of a ball of fire. And then last year, he pops on the scene. He scores an insane amount of touchdowns, really out of nowhere. The value was crazy. And now he's coming back in without real competition in the backfield. There's really little chance that his touchdown rate will be as high as it was. And obviously, he's not going to be as much of a surprise, but you'll still get good value for him. I've drafted him in a couple of my leagues. He shouldn't be doubted anymore. He should be seen as a top running back in a not crowded backfield, looking to prove last year wasn't a fluke. Before we move on to number 12, I just want to say, if you've listened to the mock draft podcast, right, I'm in 4 leagues this year, and I mean, it all depends on what you want to do. Little braggy. I'm going to brag a little bit, a little tidbit. Did get an A+ overall rating on that draft. Another A+ in my first league and an A- in my third league for all my drafts, right? Because NFL Fantasy kind of grades your thing. Shout out to NFL Fantasy. I like to look at my grade. But anyway, follow my advice. You might be getting A+ draft grades too. It really just comes down to value and how you can fill up your team and bench. The bench is one of the most important things overlooked in fantasy football. How you can fill up your bench with star players, just getting them with value. I remember I went down. I was getting guys that were on the top of the list but were lower on my sheet, just so that when the draft came back around, I would get the guys lower on the apps list but higher on my sheet. So I would end up with both instead of just one. Like, it's things like that. You can watch the mock draft to kind of see more of what I'm talking about. It's probably a little confusing just hearing me right now if you haven't seen it. But it's things like that, getting the value, filling up your entire starters, and then moving to your bench and finding solid bench options that will get you an A+ rating. So I just want to point that out. Okay, where were we? Let's hop back in. Number 12, DeAndre Swift. He's a guy whose carries are rising every single year in that pretty poor Lions offense. He could be average. It just depends on what happens in the offense. He could be average. He could be top 20, or he could absolutely boom as the only guy that's capable of doing anything with the ball on Detroit. So it's a bit of a risky pick, but I believe in him. I've watched him kind of grow as that team has been pretty bad. He's still stepped up and continued to play better and better and better. And backs who catch the ball, that is a good thing in fantasy football. In a PPR league, a back who can hold on to a football is who you want to get. So if you're looking for a running back there, kind of a risky running back who might be falling just because he's a Lion, whatever, go for it. Number 13, another guy who is a very risky, I don't want to say very risky, he's not a Christian McCaffrey, but he's in a Christian McCaffrey situation, is Saquon Barkley. He's been a little bit forgotten about, honestly. He's pretty underrated. He's a bit of a sleeper this year. And he could, I think after the injuries last year, kind of had a recovery year, the still bad offense looking to get him back. I mean, the Giants really, during his rookie season, that's what he's looking. Saquon just wants his rookie season back, and I believe he could get it. But during his rookie season, the Giants fed him the ball every single play they could. This is a risky pick, but if he gets back to that place where he's the Giants' guy, if you see a pattern, there's a lot of these running backs who are the guy of the offense, right? Jonathan Taylor, the guy. Christian McCaffrey, the guy. Derrick Henry, Najee Harris with all the carries. Aaron Jones could be. DeAndre Swift. Guys that will get the ball. I mean, as long as your guy, when you're watching it on TV, is getting the ball, you're happy, right? Give him some chances. So if Saquon Barkley gets a chance, he's risky, but you could take that chance. Number 14 on my list is Javonte Williams. Maybe the most upside of any of these running backs. Without the injury risks that some of them have, like Cam Akers at 16, he's another guy with crazy upside. But Javonte Williams, coming off his rookie season, is like just a freight train. Durable, hasn't missed a snap really that he wasn't subbed in. He still isn't the true wide receiver, he still isn't the true running back on the Broncos yet, with Gordon still on the team. but he's expected to get most of the carries in the offense, like the carries that he deserves. He shouldn't be on the sidelines much, and he has a good chance of booming like Taylor or Harris did, depending on the carries he gets. He was the most efficient running back in the whole league per carry on breaking tackles, getting yards, and gaining hype, to be honest. So don't overdraft him. It's easy to see him with his hurdles and everything and be like, wow, I need a player like that. But he could be that guy. So there's always a risk. He could be that guy. Cam Akers, next up, number 15. He's got great upside coming off the Super Bowl win, but he's also coming off injuries. And that's something that, like Williams doesn't have, he does. There is something to worry about. There's uncertainty that what he's going to do in that Super Bowl winning offense. I don't want to say that, like, how much do they need them, but they want a Super Bowl with him not at full force. So how much are they going to use him versus just doing what they did last year? But he's super underrated. He's way down on the depth charts, like the running back charts on the apps, right? If you're drafting on an app, or really just in people's minds, they don't know Cam Akers like they know Saquon Barkley. So he's a guy that you could find pretty underrated in the kind of mid rounds of your draft. Next, we have final running back of my list. I like to do 16 guys for skill positions, so running backs and receivers. Our 16th guy is Nick Chubb. He is just a solid running back, one in the league. He lacks the booming upside of some, but he's got a good high floor, right? He's got a good low point and a good high point. He's just going to be a consistent dude on a probably pretty of a struggling offense to start the year without Watson. So we'll see. I think if you want a safe guy in the later, like probably round 3, you'll find him maybe. Round 4. If you want a safe dude, grab yourself Nick Chubb. If you've already taken a chance, that's what I like to do. I like to pair a boomer, right, a guy who can shoot up with some safe picks. So if I was able to grab whatever, maybe Aaron Jones, like if I get, let's just say, this is not my draft. I did not do this, but let's say I got Justin Jefferson round 1, good receiver. Now I need some running backs because the running back field is not deep. So I got Aaron Jones round 2, coming off kind of a poor season, or an okay season, right? Has a chance to be crazy in that offense without receivers. And then round 3, there's Nick Chubb, a safe running back to pair with my good running back, to pair with my up-and-coming, boomer bust running back, and my good receiver. That's a good, complete big 3. So that's kind of what you want. And there's my list. We'll go to sleepers and busts here in a second, but there is the top 16 running back list. So let's hop right into some sleepers before we end this episode. Sleepers are undervalued guys. My kind of top sleeper, honestly, is Travis Etienne Jr. on the Jaguars. He was super hyped coming into his rookie season, and then he had an injury, and he hasn't played, he has not got his game. He hasn't tried. He hasn't got a chance in the NFL. And people forget his abilities coming out of college. So coming into this season, I got a little slack for picking him in one of my leagues. They're like, that guy, who is he? What is he going to do? He will play. The Jags are a team that are resetting. Their other running back, James Robinson, who's another good deep sleeper. He's rehabbing injuries. The stage is set for Travis Etienne to take that ball in that offense and be their carrier in that offense, get some good value. People don't even know his name, right? People do not know who he is. So hyped and then just forgotten about. So he's a late round gem that I think has a chance to be, I would say, a top 20 running back. I think his ceiling is a top 20 running back, finding an area with consistent running backs like Nick Chubb. My number 2 sleeper, I already talked to him a little bit, but Saquon Barkley. Some will draft him high, right? He'll be drafted high in some of your leagues just because of his name, and people see his name and know who he is, so they want him. But other people are really writing him off. He's still young and healthy. Coming into the season, he is healthy. He has a chance to be healthy the whole year. He's young, fiery, wants his rookie season have another chance to have that year. He can win. He will, if he doesn't get hurt, I believe he will win you some weeks. He will have booming weeks of 40 points. It's really just his injury, but people are writing him off to where you can find him in a late round before, like after guys have already been picked that aren't even on my top 16. He might still be there. And that injury risk, that's a chance that you should be willing to take in your league. Take this guy, you find him, you're like, wow. For good value, risky pick, it's a trade-off, and trade-offs are how you win your fantasy league. Number 3 sleeper is Tony Pollard on the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott is also he's a sleeper and a bust, and I'll get to him later. But he's kind of on the decline, and Pollard is set up for more and more of a chance. He's super efficient with his yards per carry every year. He's not worth a reach in the draft because in all likelihood, he will just be the backup who comes in more than any other backup in the league. But he could break into the running back 2 levels if the Cowboys just see his worth and give him a solid chance. He could have crazy games, and he could break into the top 25, I believe, with his just crazy efficiency. If he gets even carries, if it switches to more of a Javonte Williams role where he gets even carries with the older guy, then I think he could have that Javonte Williams season that's super impressive. And maybe next year we'll be talking about how he's breaking into the top 15 or 10. So we'll see. Now we're on to busts. Final 3 guys I'm going to go over this episode. Number 1 is David Montgomery. He's 1 full year removed from his crazy breakout season. His efficiency took a big hit last year. He's a lot. I don't have a lot to say about Montgomery other than he's a lot like Najee Harris, but with less carries. So he's not very efficient, and he's not the Bears' whole offense. He doesn't get the chance Najee did to just go and go and go and go and go and score and score and score and score and score. David Montgomery runs like Najee, but gets less of an opportunity. So I think he's not necessarily a bust, but I think he'll be overvalued. His ceiling is just pretty low. My second player is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. While the value is better, hype is less, which means value is better this year for him. Injury concerns in a crowded backfield, as well as just his inconsistencies ever since he was drafted, that leads to drafting him anywhere besides like the last couple of rounds. It's just too risky for the reward. I don't believe he's going to be that good. I don't think he has really a chance of being that good, and the hype is less, but you still want to be careful about reaching because he's just so inconsistent. He hasn't shown that he can be the NFL running back that everybody thought he would be in college, that he would be if he wanted to be a top scoring running back, is I think what I'm alluding to. People thought he could be a top running back and thus a top scoring fantasy running back, and he hasn't really shown that. So taking that chance for another year, right, trying again, it's a bit too risky. And then we have Ezekiel Elliott. I said I would get it to him later. He is really a sleeper and a bust. It just depends on how your league draft goes. If he's falling late, if no one has made him a bust, quote unquote, right? If he's falling, then snag him for some good value in the last rounds before Tony Pollard, because he still is the number 1 running back on the Cowboys. Zeke is. But resist the urge to take him early, like people have in the past. He doesn't have the Saquon Barkley bounce back upside. So people will see his name in your league and will draft him too high and make him a more of a bust pick than a sleeper pick because of just crazy overvalue. He's on the decline and he's wildly inconsistent in the Cowboys offense. He'll have good weeks, he'll have bad weeks, but just it all depends on where he falls in your draft. If he falls late, pick him up. It's a good sleeper pick. If he's getting picked early, or if you're thinking, I might pick him early, don't. That is a bust pick that won't really help your team as much. Finding a guy, I would draft Travis Etienne over Zeke. I would draft, obviously I draft my whole top 16, but I would draft a lot of guys around the 25 range before I draft Zeke, even though he's got the history, just because he's a little on the downfall. And the only reason I would want him is if I can get good value for him. So that is the running back episode of Fantasy Avenue. Thank you for listening. And I hope that this helped you kind of get ready for your draft week. So good luck. See you guys in the next episode. We'll have wide receivers, tight ends coming out soon. Peace.